Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the William Mary Sports Podcast. I know it's been a while, but I've been pretty busy over the last few weeks with a lot of school stuff. But I'm glad to be back on here talking about William Mary athletics once again. But today, I just wanted to discuss the recent win over Hampton for the Tribe's Senior Day, and also come on here and give my predictions for the Caa Tournament starting on Friday. Yeah, and as you guys know, if you want to buy tickets for anything or even the Caa Tournament coming up on Friday, you can do so using my code WMSportsPod on SeatGeek for $20 off your purchase. And also, if you enjoy the content that you see on here, I encourage you to go follow my Instagram and more importantly, I would say my Twitter, because I'm more active on there, and you'll get more snippets like this on a more frequent basis if that is something that you are looking for. So, without further ado, let's get right into it, and we'll start by talking about William Mary's victory over Hampton yesterday. So high scoring, like we've been all year. We do better. I feel like when the game's high scoring, and it comes down to just who shoots the ball better, and that's definitely a strong point for our team. We attempted 35 threes, hit 15 of them, 42.9%. That's just about all you can ask for from there. And then we also shot 45% from the field, so really had a good day there. And those types of performances are how you're going to beat teams, especially if you're us. And on the other side, Hampton had a pretty good day shooting from the field with 43%, but had a lower percentage from three, hitting 33 of those. Something that's kind of been an issue for us all year is our free throw shooting. I thought we had a pretty solid first half of free throws, but towards the end, once again, we went 12 for 18, which is 66%, and that just can't fly, especially when we're going to the tournament, really banged up, and we're gonna have to make up, the lack of depth, and against some teams, just the lack of talent. By hitting free throws, and it's just something that we have to do, and I'm not sure that that will be the case, but obviously we can always hope. So seniors that went out were Sean Haupt, who was graduate transfer from a D2 school, and then Jake Milkwright, who hasn't played at all this year. There was some speculation originally about whether he would come back or not. Because he just hasn't touched the floor really in kind of the past 2 years. But according to some sources, it looks like he will not return. Just wants to go ahead and get started with his life, I guess, rather than playing for William Mary another year. But Sean, this is also his last year of eligibility, obviously, but he had a really good game. He had 16 points. Which really came down to him going 5 for 9 from three, and then him hitting a free throw. He just had a really good game, and every time it looked like Hampton was kind of sneaking back into the game, he'd knock down a big three, and just did a lot of wonders for us yesterday, and it was a big part of why we won. I thought Caleb Dorsey also had a pretty good game. He got into some foul trouble early, which is definitely true. Which is definitely not, ideal, obviously, especially for him. And we, with all the injuries, that didn't help us. But other than that, 2 for 3 from three, which is good for him. Had a pretty solid rebounding day. So I thought he played pretty well. Chase Lowe, and Trey Moss had really good days shooting, and Trey Moss had a good day from the line, going 4 for 4. So those guys definitely helped us. And then Gabe Dorsey, kind of had the highlight of the game when he broke the school record for made 3-pointers in a season with currently 101. But he shot a lot of threes. Um, went 5 for 15. But he had a pretty good day and wasn't too shabby, getting the boards or dishing it out. So overall, I was at the game. I was fortunate enough to sit courtside, which was a really really cool experience. Um, I've done it before, but it's really cool every time just being that close to the action. But overall, an enjoyable game. Never was at the point where I really thought that we were gonna a lead. But I thought, um, you know, the majority of people who got playing time played well, and it definitely gave us some positive momentum heading into the tournament. All right, so now moving on, I'm going to talk about the CAA tournament, what the bracket looks like, and my predictions. But I just want to get on a quick side note right now. I'm watching the end of the William Mary women's basketball game against Charleston, excuse me, and they're really playing for a double bye here when it comes to the tournament. I think William Mary's currently um, a 4 seed, but if they lose, they'll be the 5 seed. So trying to get that double bye is definitely important for them, and they're down 2 with about 19 seconds left. So we'll see if they can pull that out. But they've just a quick note, they've had a really really good season. 11-4 currently in conference play, and just wanted to shout out Coach E, just having a really really great impact. I haven't been following the women's team for a very long time, but based on my research, it's been a really long time since they've had 2 teams that were this good, and definitely haven't been close at all to reaching the tournament in past years. But Coach E's just done a really really good job, just recruiting and coaching overall, and we're really seeing the impact here. And she's just the right type of coach for a program like this. But back to what I was going to, which was the men's CAA tournament, which bracket was finalized yesterday with the conclusion of the regular season. So Charleston clinched the 1 seed, and then you have Drexel, Hofstra, UNCW, Delaware, or excuse me, Towson, Delaware, Monmouth, Campbell, Monmouth, Campbell, Stony Brook, Northeastern, Elon, William Mary, NCA&T, and Hampton. I know that was a lot. Don't expect you to really retain any of that, but I took it into account to sort these 14 teams into categories based on where I think they stand in terms of winning the tournament, and this graphic will be up on the screen now. But at the top, starting with my favorites, this is not put out by the CAA or anything. These are just my predictions and my thoughts based on what I've seen this year. So at the top, I have the number 1 overall seed in the CAA, Charleston, defending champions as of the moment, and the number 4 seed, UNCW, who's actually beat Charleston twice this year. Based on what I've seen, I think these are the 2 teams that have had the best overall seasons. I know UNCW has the 4 seed, so it doesn't look like they're all that. But let me just tell you, I really do think they're better than every team besides Charleston right now, which is up in the air. But I think they're better than what their seed says overall. Next up, in the next up category, I have Drexel, who's the 2 seed, Hofstra, the 3 seed, Delaware, the 6 seed, and Towson, the 5 seed, I think. Yeah. So I think these teams all realistically have a chance. I don't think they're not by any means my pick, but Drexel had a pretty good year. was at the top of the CAA for a good amount of the year, but kind of had some somewhat negative momentum heading into the tournament. Hofstra, a team that looked middle of the pack for a while, but just had a big spurt at the end of the year, get them up to a 3 seed. So Coach Claxton has won the league before. There's no reason that they can't do it again, and definitely a team that can't be overlooked. Just like Delaware too. They've won the league, I think in 2022. Once again, just a team that can't be overlooked. They've been up and down all year. Have the potential to make a run, but definitely a team to look out for. We'll just see. We'll see what they do. I think if they win their first round or second round matchup, they'll play Drexel, or excuse me, Hofstra. So that will be interesting. Towson. Now this is a team that I almost wanted to put an outside chance just because of how, I feel like they're the most bipolar team, for lack of better words. Lost to Hampton, and not just lost, but got significantly beat by Hampton, which was really surprising. Obviously, if they played again, I don't think that would happen. But that just adding to my point of bipolarness. They've hung in there with good teams like UNCW and Charleston. Definitely a team to look out for. But at the same time, if I had to pick one, upper team that is the most upsettable, I guess, for lack of better words, it's Towson. It really just depends on how they come out and decide to play on a given day. So those 4 teams, not my favorites, but definitely can't count them out at all. Now, in the outside chance category, I have Monmouth, Stony Brook, and Campbell. Monmouth, 8 seed, Stony Brook, 7 seed, and Campbell, the 9 seed. So Monmouth and Campbell will obviously play in the first round of the tournament. The winner will play Charleston. And these 2 teams, I mean, you really, really cannot let these go over your head. Monmouth, a team with Xander Rice, I believe is his name. He is a monster. He's a monster. He can put up 40 on you on any given night. He's a guy who can really, these conference tournaments are all about, can you have a star player who can lead you, who can carry your team to the next level? And with a team like Monmouth, Xander Rice, having that guy, they are a really under the radar scary team that I know a lot of teams don't really want to face. And same thing with Campbell. They last year in their old conference, the Big South, were I believe the 7th seed or something, and they went on a run and made it to their conference championship, which they ended up losing. But they've got a good coaching staff. They've got good players. It's interesting. A lot of players are foreign. I feel like they have more foreign players than they do United States players. So that's just a fun fact, I guess, if you will. But Campbell, definitely another one of those teams. Like both of those teams, I wouldn't necessarily rule out on beating Charleston in the next round. So we'll see. If I had to pick between them, I think it would be Monmouth, but definitely 2 under the radar teams that could do some damage, not necessarily win the thing, but do some damage. And finally, in that category, Stony Brook, this team, definitely an improved team from last year, but they have a really good player, and whose name I'm blanking on right now, who's also a guy that could carry them. But I think definitely that their team could make it to a semifinal, maybe even make it to the championship, depending on their matchup. But it just depends on how they come out and play. If they play good defense like that, like they have done all year, and play solid offense, this team another dangerous team in terms of making an upset run and trying to win the whole thing. Next is the need a miracle category, and that starts out with us, William and Mary. Um, Obviously, it's been a very disappointing season. I don't think anybody is arguing against that. Um, I, I mean, anyone who's followed this team knows that there's been a insane amount of injuries, and the longevity of the injuries is even more insane. Um, I'm not going to share my opinions on that really, but I know there's a lot of talk about that. I guess that's all I'm going to go into there. But I think the group of guys that William Mary has is very capable, and you know I don't really think 13th in the CAA properly embodies what this team is capable of at all. Um, I think it's pretty fortunate, honestly, to be completely honest, that we ended up with a 13 seed versus either finishing last or like 11 or something. Because if we play North Carolina A&T on Friday, and if we win that, we go on to play Towson, who, like I mentioned before, I believe is the most upsettable team, I guess. And we played close with them early this year, where we played what I will say it was a really bad game. By no means am I saying we're going to beat NCAA and beat Towson, but I think the path that we got was more fortunate than not. I will say, but I think we have the players to have a little upset run. Do I think we can win the whole thing? No. But do I think we could win 2 games? I'm not going to rule that out at all. Moving on, though, I'll go to Northeastern, a team that has once again been kind of up and down. Had some really good wins, but also have had some bad losses. Kind of similar to William Mary. Not going to rule them out about going on a little run. I think they play Stony Brook in the first round. That to me is going to be a really good game. I would have to give the edge to Stony Brook at the moment, but not at all counting Northeastern out. They have a coach that's really experienced, been there for I think over 20 years. So he knows what he's doing, and once again can't rule them out of a little run in the CAA tournament. Next up is Elon, who really I thought was pretty impressive this year for their age. Definitely a team full of a lot of young guys who I think will develop a lot. This is a separate thing, but I think they'll definitely be good next year as long as they continue to develop. But this is a team that beat UNCW at Trask Coliseum. I think that's their arena name, but team that has all the upset potential in the world, I think, and I think they play Hampton in the first round. I mean, I don't rule them out of anything, just like these other teams, and that's kind of the reason that I don't have any of these teams in the lower tier. Because I truly think that any of these teams can, go off and maybe win 2 games, which is saying something because a lot of these teams are like pretty low in the standings, to be completely honest with you. And finally, in the Need a Miracle column is NCAA. I think this is a perfect example of a team that lacks a lot of talent, but they are really well coached. And, that goes to show because non-conference play was horrendous for them. They're only a 7-win team, but let's see. I think they have a lot of conference wins, which is pretty surprising to be honest. So they went 7-24 in the year, but they went 5-13, which is, not good by any means, but it's a good 2 games from last place. And this team's good. They've been good at home, but can't rule them out just like everybody else in that column. And then finally, in the Hampton column, um, is Hampton. They finished last in the CAA. Obviously, we beat them yesterday, but I think the thing that separates them from the Need a Miracle teams is they don't have it mentally. Um, I watched, being down on the court yesterday was not only a great experience just to see the game, but I was able to really hear what was going on, what the players were saying to each other, what the refs were saying, um, and I think the Hampton mindset or philosophy is just, I would say, kind of disorganized for lack of better words. Uh, I just, I think they get out of sorts. Excuse me. Too quickly. I think they have a little bit of an attitude, which is not always a bad thing, but in this case, I don't think it's a positive thing at all. And can they beat Elon? I mean, I think they can. They can, but I can't really see a team with, you know, as non-disciplined, I guess, as they are going farther in the tournament than or winning 2 games in the tournament, I guess. And I even have a pretty hard time seeing them beat Elon on Friday. But it's the CAA. We can't rule anything out. But in my opinion, I think that they got their own category because it's the lack of discipline. And finally, my pick is UNCW to win the league, and this is because you might be saying, Evan, UNCW is the 4 seed. Why do you feel so confident in them? Why do you have so much trust in them to win the league this year? Especially, considering Charleston won the league last year with the same, not really the same team, but the same staff. I think UNCW, I think it's their year. After losing 2 straight conference championship games, the fans are sick of it, or not sick of it, but they're ready. They're ready to take the next step. This is a team that beat Charleston both at home and on the road. So they've proven that they can definitely do that. I don't know what else to say. The coach, really big fan of him. The team, really good. When I remember watching them when they came up to Williamsburg earlier this year. We didn't play a really good game, but they also didn't play a good game, and they still beat us pretty significantly, I would say. And I'd say the difference between this year and last year is just, I think last year they didn't have the maturity really. It wasn't to the point of like Hampton where it's like they're not disciplined and they just kind of seem like jerks. But it's like I think they didn't really know fully how to handle themselves, especially in like big atmospheres. Like, they came to us last year, which I wouldn't label us as a big atmosphere ever, but it was our Gold Rush game. That's when all the students come out. So there was a good atmosphere for them. There was a lot of chanting, a lot of yelling, and they started out really hot, but we started to come back, and they only won by a few points. And then obviously they lost both at home and on the road against Charleston last year. So I just think the difference between those teams is the maturity, and I think this year they have the staff, they have the team to finally pull through and win the CAA championship and get the automatic bid to the NCAA tournament. As always, if you enjoyed this episode, let me know if you want to talk. If you want to talk about anything William Mary sports related, if you want to come on the podcast at all, you can DM me on Twitter, which is at Evan_Mangin, or on Instagram, which is the William Mary Sports Podcast. I also recommend you follow those places if you like what you see here and you want content more frequently and want to hear more information about William Mary Athletics. on a weekly basis, probably almost on a daily basis. And once again, a reminder: if you're buying tickets, use code WMSportsPod on SeatGeek for $20 off your purchase. Thank you all for tuning in to this episode. Make sure to check out the YouTube as well, which is new, which is the William Mary Sports Podcast. I'm going to post this episode up on there too, and post some shorter videos, shorter clips from this podcast. But once again, appreciate everyone who listens. If you want to subscribe to the podcast, you know where to do it. I'll leave the link in the description. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Go Tribe.